In 5, 4, 3, 2.
So we talk about all the things that happen to male survivors and how it impacts them, but oftentimes we don't talk about the solution. So how can we help men journey to wholeness? And how can men who've experienced sexual abuse begin their healing process? The first thing is acknowledging. You have to acknowledge what has actually happened, and you have to put verbiage to it. And sometimes that's not a pretty thing to do. It looks ugly, it feels ugly, but you'll never be able to feel freedom until you go through what you're afraid to look at. I want you to remember this. God cannot heal what you're not willing to expose. If you're keeping it hidden, oftentimes it will impact you. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Sometimes we don't want to acknowledge what has happened to us because we feel entitled to hold on to the guilt. We feel entitled to hold on to the guilt, hold on to the shame, but also hold on to our bitterness and our anger. And acknowledging that you were a victim or you experienced abuse, it properly positions you to begin your journey to wholeness. The next thing is seeking help. You cannot heal by yourself. If you could have, you would have done it already. The truth is, healing happens in community. You have to get in a community, find a safe space, whether it's a therapist, a pastor, a trusted pastor, or a leader, or somebody, or maybe just a friend in your life where you can at least begin having these conversations. They don't have to have all the answers, and if you're the friend that they come to, you don't have to have the answers. Sometimes all you need to do is just listen. For some, it's telling your story. Something magical happens when you gain the courage to tell your own story. Now, you may not be on a stage or a platform. Maybe you're telling your story through writing. Maybe you're journaling your story through a video blog. Maybe it's just something you're recounting with a therapist. But you gotta tell your story, because your story, when you tell your story, you become the author of your own life. When you tell your story, it is a form of you taking back your power and telling and sharing your narrative. Oftentimes male survivors feel like Oftentimes male survivors feel like their choice to choose who they wanted to be was ripped from them. When you tell your story, you take your power back, and you then decide who you want to become. Another way that we can journey to wholeness is another step to journey towards wholeness is de-vilifying your abusers. Now, this is not a popular one. De-vilifying your abusers. What do you mean? So I love Marvel. I love DC. And oftentimes, men, we live in a good cop, bad cop kind of space. Good guy, bad guy. And when we have abusers, we often vilify them and we look at them as these huge monsters, evil people that are just they oftentimes are worthy of death or just life in prison. But what we have to do is we have to see them as human. What do you mean? Whenever you see a bad guy, just go with me for a minute. A bad guy oftentimes doesn't start out as a bad guy. Not many people wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to hurt as many people as possible. Oftentimes, that hurt person has experienced some type of injustice or hurt themselves that they never received retribution or they never received the justice that they felt like they deserved. And so oftentimes hurt people. And because nobody responded to their cries for help, because they felt like that they did not get what was due, they sometimes unintentionally hurt other people. And sometimes they intentionally hurt other people because they're intoxicated by their own pain. Let me say that again. They're intoxicated by their own pain. They're not in their right mind. They're not thinking straight. And all they can see and all they can feel and all that they can look at is what happened to them. And they're looking for someone else to help share that burden. When you de-vilify your abusers, you take back your power, but you also are able to make forgiveness that much more palatable. Now, am I saying that what they did was right and that they shouldn't, that there shouldn't be consequences? Not at all. But what I'm saying is de-vilifying your abusers allows you to make forgiveness that much more palatable. Forgiveness, well, here's the thing, forgiveness is not about them. Forgiveness is about you. Unforgiveness is like being contained in a prison and you got the key to get out. Unforgiveness, Tyler Perry said it best, is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. The truth is, many of the people that hurt us as kids or people that hurt us or many people who abuse us sexually, they have gone on and they're living their lives. And sometimes they don't even remember. Sometimes they don't even recall. But it's you, it's me that's left to deal with our own pain. And so how do you journey to wholeness? Sometimes you got to de-vilify the abusers so that you can journey to wholeness for yourself. Another way, and a part of journey to healing, is reclaiming your body. Most men who experience some form of sexual abuse have some level of body image issues. They don't like their body. If they're strong, man, they want to be stronger. If they're skinny, they want to be stronger. If they're bigger, they want to be smaller. And oftentimes men live in an eternal penis swinging contest where inside of our minds, we're always comparing ourselves to somebody else because we don't think that we're good enough. We don't think we have what it takes to be the man's man or be the top on the food chain, when really all you have to be is you, because you are enough. It's not about who you can please or what you can do to be the best, to be on top. When you learn that you, in and of yourself, regardless of your body type, body shape, no matter what you're working with, listen, it's enough. Say it with me, I'm enough. Say it till you mean it. I am enough. When you believe that, the world will believe it. If you see yourself as a grasshopper, so will they. But when you start looking at yourself for the giant that you were created to be, the world will see you as one too. So, why do we tell our story? A part of telling your story gives you why do we tell our story? Because it gives us the opportunity to reclaim our narrative and to solidify our identity. Oftentimes, men who suffer from sexual abuse, oftentimes their narrative has been determined by the people that hurt them. There's an African proverb that I love that says, until the lion learns how to tell his story, the narrative will always be about the win. Until the lion learns how to tell his story, the story will always glorify the hunter. When you learn how to tell your story and take back your narrative and reclaim your identity, you take back your power and your voice is heard. Your experience is seen and it's humanized. And there's something magical that takes place. When you choose to heal out loud, other men start healing out loud. There's a quote that says, it's easier to raise strong boys than to heal broken men. But I believe that when you heal a broken man, you heal a broken family. When you heal a broken family, you can heal broken communities. And when you heal broken communities, it's only a matter of time before we all can heal our broken world. All right. I ain't got no more in me.